We live in a largely casual culture. CEOs worth billions of dollars appear at shareholder conferences wearing t-shirts and jeans. The Senate recently contemplated dressing casually on the Senate floor. They quickly rescinded that idea. But this tide of casualness is indeed sweeping our culture. There are good things about this trend, and there are some not so good things. One of the downsides of our largely casual culture is that we don't always know how to dress. Because even though we go about mostly casually, there are events that require something more. And without a clear code to follow, we are left to suss out the level of formality from various clues. If we are invited to an event and we're not sure how to dress, we may look at the guest list. Is it exclusive or is it open to anyone? If it's exclusive, we would tend to think we have to dress up. If it's open to anyone, we think we can probably let our guard down. We look at the venue. Is it a fancy hotel or a regular old conference hall? We have to read the signs very carefully in order to get the answer to our question of what to wear right. The unfortunate fellow we hear about at the end of the parable no doubt was a little confused about the level of formality of this event he was invited to. He probably looked at the guest list and saw that the king's servants invited anyone they could find to this wedding feast. He therefore concluded that it would be a casual affair. He probably thought to himself, if they're inviting just anybody, the king probably won't even be there to see me, so I'll go casually. How wrong he was. What a grave miscalculation. And when the king does indeed appear, and he catches sight of this man, not dressed for the occasion, he asks him, "Why do you come here without a wedding garment?" And the man is reduced to silence. He's reduced to silence because his answer would have been disrespectful, and he knew it. "Well, Your Majesty, I figured because you were inviting just anyone that this was a lowbrow affair. Better to keep silent." This mistake of that unfortunate wedding guest is a mistake we can very often make as well. This parable about a king and his wedding feast for his son is meant to open our eyes to the reality of what we celebrate every time we come to Mass. Each and every holy sacrifice of the Mass represents the wedding feast of heaven and earth in Jesus. The wedding feast between our God and us. It is a celebration of His love for us, His union with us. And there can be no greater, grander, more solemn event than that. Yet, we miss this fact. We miss this fact because our doors are wide open. Anyone can come to this house of God. We have no standards for our guest list. Everyone is invited, good and bad alike. And from that fact, we draw all the wrong conclusions, just like the unfortunate wedding guest. We think because these doors are wide open and anyone can come, nothing is really demanded of us. We can waltz in here however we like. This is a casual affair. But it's not. This parable is more than a parable about what to wear before God. It's about our recognition of the grandeur, the solemnity, and the majesty of what happens here, and the gravity of preparing well to participate in our God's wedding feast. This parable not only opens our eyes to the reality of the Mass, a wedding feast, a royal wedding feast, it opens our eyes to the importance of another sacrament that prepares us to participate in the wedding feast fully, to be clothed as we are meant to be clothed, to participate in such a grand affair. And that, brothers and sisters, is the sacrament of reconciliation. The wedding garment spoken of in this parable is grace, is love, is the very life of God with which you were clothed at your baptism. If you were at a baptism recently, no doubt, you remember seeing the white garment the little baby wears. That white garment is meant to be a sign of being clothed with Jesus, being clothed with the life and love of God. At that moment, we are cleansed and made ready to participate in the wedding feast of the Lamb. However, as we grow older, as we become capable of sin, capable of turning away from God, we can tarnish and tear that wedding garment. We can even lose it through grave sin. And the way we are restored to that shining brilliance that God desires for us is through the sacrament of reconciliation. To participate fully and well in this wedding feast, in the Mass, we need the cleansing power of reconciliation. Therefore, it's really important when we come to Mass and when we approach communion to ask ourselves beforehand, am I ready? Am I clothed with the light and the love of my baptism? And very often, we need a good cleaning. Very often, we need a wardrobe upgrade. And that is all given to us freely in the sacrament of reconciliation. All are welcome into the house of God, yes. But that invitation comes with a call to be converted, a call to open every aspect of our life to the transforming power of God. And that's a lifelong task, a lifelong challenge. All are welcome, yes. But that doesn't mean we can take this lightly. All are welcome to come close to the King. Sometimes we take Mass too casually because we fail to recognize how close our God comes to us in this place. Like the unfortunate guest, we think, I'll never catch sight of the King. I'm a nobody. I don't need to dress up. But how close Jesus comes to us in this place. And knowing that, we prepare. Knowing that, we ask that his grace cleanse us and makes us shine and be fittingly beautiful for him. This, brothers and sisters, is the wedding feast of the Lamb. All of us have been called, not by our own merits, but by the mercy of God. But we have to let that mercy cleanse us, so that when the King comes to us, he sees the reflection of his Son's face shining in us. May we never be caught unprepared. May we be never caught casually in this wedding feast of heaven and earth.